In 1942, Japanese naval officers openly laughed at American radar, calling it useless toys for children. They believed no one could match them in the darkness. That night fighting was their ultimate weapon. But then, their invincible night fleets began vanishing into the Black Pacific. Today, discover how one technology turned the entire tide of the war in the Pacific. October 11th, 1942, 23:17 hours. The slot, Solomon Islands. Lieutenant Commander Ernest E. Evans throttles the USS Duncan forward, the bow of his destroyer slicing through ink-black water. The air is thick, humid, and tastes of salt and diesel. Ahead, unseen, lies the island of Guadalcanal. Around him, the American task force is a collection of deeper shadows against a moonless sky. No running lights. Radio silence. The only sound is the relentless rush of water against steel. On the bridge of the Japanese heavy cruiser Aoba, Vice Admiral Aratamo Goto allows himself a sliver of confidence. His bombardment group, 3 heavy cruisers, 2 destroyers, is a phantom, a master of the night run. For decades, the Imperial Japanese Navy has perfected this Yogiki, interceptor night battle. Sharpshooters in the tops, elite lookouts trained from boyhood to see in the dark, the unmatched Type 93 long lance torpedo. Darkness is their cloak, their weapon, their cultural advantage. American sailors, they believe, fear the dark. They fight by the clock. They are blind. Aboard the USS Helena, a light cruiser, a new kind of eye is open. The SG surface search radar antenna rotates steadily, silently. In the Combat Information Center, a phosphorescent green glow washes over the faces of young operators. On the scope, the world is laid bare. A line of 5 distinct pips materialize 14,000 yards out. Bearing mark. Range mark. Course mark. The data flows into the gunfire control computer, a mechanical brain of gears and cams. Solutions are locked. At 2346, without a single visual sighting, without a searchlight piercing the gloom, the Helena's radio crackles with a calm, impossible order to the task force commander. Interrogatory Roger. We have the solution. The reply is immediate. Execute Roger. The night ignites. 6-inch guns from the Helena, Salt Lake City, and Boise roar as one, their muzzles flashing like sudden, violent suns. The first salvo is not a ranging shot. It is a hailstorm of high-explosive steel, guided not by human eye, but by microwave echoes. You can almost feel the concussion wave hit Goto on the Aoba's bridge before he sees the flames. A direct hit to the command deck. The shock is absolute, visceral. This isn't suppressive fire. This is execution. In the first 90 seconds, the Aoba is smothered, the Furitaka gutted. The American shells walk with unnatural precision through the Japanese formation. Japanese lookouts stare into impenetrable blackness, screaming for targets, their binoculars useless. They return fire at muzzle flashes, a desperate, blind rage. Their long lances streak into emptiness. Lieutenant Commander Evans on the Duncan, seeing a target, charges into the brawl, a destroyer's knife fight. But the script is broken. The American radar picture is fracturing in the close-quarters chaos. He becomes an unintended silhouette, caught between lines. By 0:28, it is over. The Furitaka is plunging stern first into the slot. The Aoba, a shattered wreck, is fleeing. The American force, minus the valiant, sinking Duncan, has vanished back into the darkness from which it came. In Tokyo, the report is met with disbelief. A fluke. A tragic coincidence of lucky American gunnery. The doctrine of the visual night attack is sacred. It cannot be wrong. But on the bridges of surviving Japanese ships, a colder, quieter doubt begins to seep in. That was not luck. That was something new. Something that sees in the dark. How do you fight an enemy who has stripped the night of its cover? November 13th, 1942. 1:30 hours. Iron Bottom Sound, off Guadalcanal. The water here is a grave. Below the keel of the battleship High, the wrecks of the cruisers Quincy, Vincennes, Astoria, and HMES Canberra from the August disaster lay silent. For the Japanese, Savo Island was proof of their nocturnal supremacy. Tonight, they will reinforce that legend. A mighty bombardment force, the battleships High and Kirishima, a screen of cruisers and destroyers, steams with impunity towards Henderson Field. Their mission: crush the American airfield with a storm of 14-inch shells. Darkness is, again, their ally. But the Americans are no longer playing by the old rules. The U.S. task force awaiting them is a desperate, cobbled-together mix of heavy cruisers, light cruisers, and destroyers. They are outgunned, outranged, and outnumbered. Admiral William Bull Halsey's orders had been simple: stop the enemy. There is no grand tactic here, only a brawl in a phone booth. A close-range, chaotic melee where the American technological edge must become a sledgehammer. Aboard the light cruiser USS Atlanta, radar operators track the approaching blips. Tension is a physical weight in the CIC. At 1:48, lookouts finally see them, monolithic shadows against the Starline. The range is point-blank, 2,700 yards. Close enough to hear the shouts, to see the running lights suddenly switched on in a gesture of arrogant contempt. Then, hell opens in two directions. The American line unleashes everything. But the Japanese, visually sighted, respond with terrifying speed. The Atlanta is instantly silhouetted by Japanese searchlights and caught in a crossfire of shell and long lance torpedo. She is soon a drifting, blazing pyre, her bridge shattered, Admiral Norman Scott killed. The battle dissolves into a ferocious, close-quarters knife fight. Ships pass within hundreds of yards, firing machine guns at each other's bridges. The night is torn apart by tracer streams, the colossal orange flashes of main batteries, and the shuddering, deep-water explosions of torpedo hits. This is where radar's true, grim evolution is proven. It isn't about neat, long-range kills tonight. It's about control in the chaos. On the crippled high, struck by over 85 shells from cruisers and destroyers, the crew is drowning in confusion. American destroyers like the Laffey charge the giant, peppering her superstructure with 5-inch fire, their movements unpredictable, guided by their own radar picture. The American command is fractured, but individual ships fight with a knowing agility. They slip in, strike, and fade, while the Japanese formation loses cohesion, reacting to local threats, blind to the overall shape of the battle. The climax is brutal, intimate. The destroyer USS Cushing, mortally wounded, drifts dead in the water. The battleship High, her steering wrecked, circles helplessly. As dawn's first light bleeds into the sky, it reveals a tableau of apocalyptic carnage. Iron Bottom Sound has claimed more souls, but the mission has failed. Henderson Field is intact, and the wounded High is a sitting duck, illuminated by the rising sun. She is not alone in her peril. The Japanese have won the tactical brawl, savaging the American force. Yet they have lost the strategic objective. And now, in the light of day, their wounded battleship is a testament to a terrifying new reality. The Americans could find them, fix them, and force a brawl even on the Imperial Navy's own terms, in the darkest night. The doubt hardens into a chilling realization. This wasn't a tool for orderly, long-range gunnery. It was a tool for orchestrating chaos in your favor. How do you command a fleet when you cannot see the battlefield, but your enemy can? November 30th, 1942, 23:06 hours. Off Tassafaronga, Guadalcanal. Hunger is the enemy now. For the Japanese soldiers starving in the Guadalcanal jungle, this night run is a lifeline. 8 destroyers, led by Captain Torijiro Sato on the Naganami, race down the slot. They are not a bombardment group, but a high-speed transport unit, the Tokyo Express. Drums of food and medicine are lashed to their decks. Their doctrine is refined. Sprint in, dump the cargo offshore in a controlled frenzy, and retreat before dawn. Speed and stealth. Even against the American radar, they believe agility can win. Admiral Carleton Wright's Task Force 67 is waiting. And it is a predator armed with the ultimate tool of the new age, the torpedo fire control system. This isn't just about seeing the enemy on a radar scope anymore. It's about weaving that data into a weapon's very soul. Aboard the heavy cruiser USS Minneapolis, operators feed the pristine radar tracks into the Mark III forward fire control computer. This electromechanical brain calculates not just where the target is, but where it will be. It factors in course, speed, even the curvature of the Earth. Its output is a firing solution of inhuman precision for the ship's main batteries. But tonight, something else is slave to it. the deadly, sluggish Mark 15 torpedoes of the American destroyers. The American trap is set. 5 cruisers in a line, destroyers ahead. Radar contact is made at 14,000 yards. The picture is perfect. The Japanese, oblivious, commence their supply drop. For Captain Sato, the night is routine. Then, at 23:16, the order, "Fire torpedoes," is given to the American destroyers. From the USS Fletcher, a spread of 10 Mark 15s churns into the dark water. Their course is dictated by the cruiser radar's flawless solution. This is the synthesis, the midnight calculus, radar eyes, computer brain, torpedo fist. And it works. For a moment, lookouts on the lead Japanese destroyer, Takanami, see the incoming American destroyers and unleash a spread of long lances in blind retaliation. Then, the American torpedoes arrive. The Takanami is hit, shattered, and blows apart. But in the American formation, a fatal hesitation takes hold. Admiral Wright, uncertain if his destroyers have cleared the firing line, delays the order for his cruisers to open fire. It is a delay of minutes. It is an eternity. It gives Captain Sato, reeling from the Takanami's destruction, exactly what he needs: a visual fix on the looming silhouettes of the American cruisers. He does not need radar. He needs a bearing, instinct, and the supernatural capability of the long lance. "All ships, fire torpedoes," he commands. What happens next is a masterclass in visual night fighting, and a brutal lesson in the limits of technology without tactical will. The Japanese destroyers, turning to flee, unleash a volley of Type 93s. The long lance torpedoes, oxygen-fueled, wakeless, with a range of over 20 miles and a warhead larger than any in the world, streak unseen through the black water. On the bridge of the USS Minneapolis, they are celebrating the torpedo hit on the Takanami. Radar still paints the fleeing Japanese. Victory seems assured. First long lance strikes the Minneapolis directly under her forward turret. The explosion is catastrophic, ripping her bow off clean forward of frame 30. Seconds later, a second torpedo hits. The New Orleans, following behind, swerves to avoid her crippled flagship and runs directly into the path of another torpedo. It detonates her forward magazines. Her entire bow, for 125 feet, disintegrates in a flash of light and vaporized steel, folding backward against the hull like torn paper. The chain reaction of disaster continues down the line. The Pensacola is struck amidships. The Northampton is hit by 2 torpedoes and will sink before dawn. In 8 minutes, the victorious Predator has become a mangled, burning fleet. The radar picture was perfect. The calculus was flawless. The torpedo solution was textbook. But a moment of human hesitation allowed the blinded swordsman one last, lethal swing. The aftermath is a paradox written in fire and salt water. The Japanese completed their supply mission. Tactically, they scored a stunning victory. Yet, as Captain Sato's force limps away, the laughter is gone. There is only a cold, sobering awe. They had faced the seeing eye of American technology head-on, and through sheer skill and a superior torpedo, they had clawed a win from it. But they all know, they cannot rely on the enemy's hesitation every time. The darkness is no longer a sanctuary. It is a hunting ground where they are the prey, and the Predator's gaze is unblinking. The question is no longer if the radar will find them. The question is, what do you do when your every move is tracked from the moment you leave port? July 13th, 1943, 1 o'clock hours. Kula Gulf, Kolumbangara. The rhythm of the night runs has become a dirge. The Imperial Japanese Navy still owns the textbook, the doctrine of Yogiki. But the Americans have rewritten the physics of the battlefield. Every captain racing down the slot now feels it, a creeping, psychological weight. The darkness is no longer empty. It is observed. Tonight, a reinforcement run. 3 fast cruisers, the Jintsu, Sendai, and Yukikase, slicing through the Narrows. They are veterans of these waters, their decks laden with troops for the never-ending hunger of the Central Solomons. Admiral Shunji Izaki on the Jintsu commands with a fatalistic professionalism. The routine includes a new, grim step. Assume you are seen. Across the Gulf, American radar operators watch the blips materialize with a calm that would be alien just months before. This is not the frantic discovery of Savo Island or the Tassafaronga trap. This is a methodical, almost clinical preparation. The technology has evolved again. The SG radar provides the picture. The new Mark 8 fire control radar, with its narrower beam and precise ranging, is the scalpel. It is mounted directly on the gun directors, slave to the computers. It does not just find the target, it locks onto it, following the slightest change in bearing and range, its data flowing seamlessly into the firing solution. The American force, centered on the light cruisers USS Honolulu and USS St. Louis and the destroyer USS Nicholas, holds its fire. They let the Japanese column commit to the Gulf. The tension isn't about if they can hit. It's about waiting for the perfect moment to annihilate. At 1:06, with the range closing to 10,000 yards, the order is given. But there is no searchlight sweep, no ranging salvo. The first flash of light from the American line is the full, coordinated broadside of 6-inch guns, guided from trigger to target by microwave impulses. On the bridge of the Jintsu, Admiral Izaki has perhaps a second to register the impossible. The muzzle flashes ahead, simultaneous with the shriek of incoming shells. The first salvo isn't a hail of steel, it's a focused execution. Armor-piercing shells, guided by the unblinking Mark 8 radar, walk directly up the Jintsu's centerline. They smash into her command bridge, her fire control stations, her torpedo tubes. The cruiser is not just hit, she is decapitated. In minutes, she is a burning, sinking hulk, Izaki and most of his staff dead before they could give an evasive order. The remaining Japanese ships, the Sendai and Yukikase, are now in a tactical nightmare. They return fire, they launch long lances, but they are lashing out at phantoms. They have no target but muzzle flashes, while the American radar tracks their every turn, every acceleration. The American ships maneuver coolly, their movements dictated by the shared radar picture, avoiding torpedo tracks that appear on no human lookout's horizon. The battle is a brutal demonstration of a new principle: information dominance. The Japanese fight with courage and local instinct. The Americans fight with God's eye view certainty. As the Jintsu slips beneath the oil-slicked waves, a deeper truth sinks with her. This was not a brawl. It was a one-sided dissection. The technological gap has widened from an advantage into a chasm. The Wizard War, as the British called it, has been decisively lost in the South Pacific. For the Japanese destroyer captains making the run back to Rabaul, the message is inescapable. The laughter that once greeted tales of American electrical machines is a ghost of a dead confidence. Now, there is only a silent, professional dread. The night itself has been stolen. Every shadow in the slot might be an unseen eye. Every mile of open water might be a pre-plotted firing solution, waiting for the right moment to unleash hell. They can still fight. They can still strike back with ferocious skill. But they can no longer hide. The fundamental premise of their naval strategy lies in ruins at the bottom of Kula Gulf. So what remains when your greatest ally becomes your deadliest enemy? November 25, 1943, 1:45 hours. Off Cape St. George, New Ireland. The retreat has become a reflex. The Tokyo Express now runs mostly one way, away from Guadalcanal, away from the Solomon's graveyard. The mission tonight is evacuation, not reinforcement. 5 destroyers under Captain Kyoto Kagawa race to pluck stranded soldiers from Bougainville. Speed, silence, and a prayer that the unblinking eye is looking elsewhere. It is not. 100 miles south, Captain Arleigh Burke's destroyer Squadron 23, the Little Beavers, cuts through the sea at 31 knots. Burke's standing orders are simple. Formation tactics are for the birds. We have the radar. We have the weapons. The tactic is to go in and hit them. Hit them hard. Hit them fast. Hit them often. His ships, Charles Osborne, Dyson, Claxton, Converse, Spence, are a single, networked organism. Their CICs share a unified radar picture via voice radio, a crude but devastatingly effective form of data linking. They don't just see the enemy, they see the enemy together. At 1:41, the blips appear. 2 groups. The radar picture is so clear, so detailed, that Burke can discern their formation. He makes a ruthless, calculating decision. He splits his force, a move that would be tactical suicide in a blind night fight. But he is not blind. He orchestrates. What follows is not a battle. It is a harvest. Burke's division pounces on Kagawa's 3-ship evacuation group. The range closes with terrifying speed. There is no warning flash of searchlights, no ranging shot. At 7,000 yards, the American destroyers let loose full broadsides of 5-inch shells and a spread of torpedoes, all guided by the seamless flow of radar data. The Japanese destroyer Yujiri is enveloped in geysers of water and flame before her lookouts can even report a contact. She is shattered, sinking in minutes. Kagawa's command is obliterated before he can fully comprehend the attack. The remaining Japanese ships scatter, firing wild long lance spreads into the empty ocean where they think the enemy might be. But Burke's ships have already turned away, their radar tracking every frantic Japanese maneuver. They regroup, share data, and pivot to hunt the second enemy group, now fleeing northward. The pursuit is relentless, a 50-mile chase through the obsidian night. The Japanese captains push their engines to the limit, weaving, hoping to break contact. But the American radar pips hold steady on their scopes. There is no escape. The Onami and Meikinami are cornered, illuminated not by light, but by precise radar ranging. Shellfire walks across their decks with methodical fury. Torpedoes, launched from perfect solutions, find their hulls. By dawn, 3 more Japanese destroyers are on the bottom of the Bismarck Sea. Captain Kyoto Kagawa is lost with his ship. His final moments were spent staring into a blackness that hid his enemy completely, while they saw his every desperate turn with perfect clarity. For Arleigh Burke's crews, exhaustion mixes with a strange, sober exhilaration. They have achieved what was once thought impossible, a clean, decisive nighttime destroyer action without a single American casualty. The Little Beavers haven't just won a battle. They have written the final chapter of a tactical revolution. In the quiet war rooms of the Imperial Japanese Navy, the evidence can no longer be denied, ignored, or blamed on luck or hesitation. The pattern is irrefutable. From the confused slaughter at Cape Esperance, through the Pyrrhic victory of Tassafaronga, to the clinical dissection at Kula Gulf, and now the total annihilation at Cape St. George, the narrative arc is complete. American naval radar, and the integrated fire control system it served, did not merely improve night gunnery. It inverted the foundational principle of Japanese naval power. The darkness had been neutralized. The warrior's keen eye, trained for a lifetime, was rendered obsolete by a rotating antenna. The courage of the night attacker became the vulnerability of the illuminated target. The psychological impact was profound and corrosive. Confidence in night operations evaporated. The initiative in the Solomons, the last arena of Japanese offensive action, permanently passed to the Allies. Every sortie became a calculated gamble with terrible odds. The Imperial Navy's spirit, once buoyed by the certainty of its nocturnal mastery, began to sink under the weight of a terrifying new reality. They were visible in their last remaining sanctuary. The technological seed planted before the war had grown into a forest of fire in the South Pacific. The American victory was not just in shipyards or industrial might, but in the relentless integration of machine, data, and human daring. They turned the impenetrable night into a weapon, and in doing so, they vanished the night fleets of the rising sun. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to the War Archives as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.